Right, local swell trackers, welcome to Big Wednesday, December 10th. We're way above seasonal averages, normally maybe 5 to 7 feet average this time of year, but oh no, we're at 10 to 15, maybe 18 feet up there on the North Shore. But before I get into today's event and show you the why and where of it all, I wanted to do a little hindcasting as I always do. Last Friday, we had a fetch here that brought us up 10, 12 plus on Sunday. And we just had a batch of these swells because we get this huge upper gyra that just covered most of the North Pack, and that'll be clear here shortly as these shortwave troughs increase the pressure gradient and allow these back-to-back fast east tracking events to go right over our longitude, and thus warning level swells back-to-back-to-back, and there's more on the way if the models come true. Down here, Hagaput was a typhoon at this point, Category 5, down to a tropical system now. It has long since crossed over the Philippines, but our thoughts and prayers to their recovery. And I will start the animation now from last Friday. You see that spinner gets very close to us. The closer the fetch, the less time for the open ocean swell decay. This guy up here added to the batch, longer period swell there. And then the really big guy kicks in right here. Take a look at the length of that and the breadth of that and how close it is to the islands, less than 1,200 miles away. The big gyra is centered here in the Gulf, and we've just had these back-to-back swells within it, and that is going to be quieting down here a bit, and we will see a more typical west-northwest swell popping up on the charts here momentarily right there, but I'll have to get to current models. But take a look at the size of that fetch, and it's going to be lasting a long time. We will see a kind of a double reinforcement on the current Wednesday swell into Thursday morning. I know the National Weather Service has it being canceled, the high surf warning at 6 a.m. right now, but they'll need it. It's still going to be 13 to 14 feet at 14 seconds. It'll be definitely high surf warning levels of 25 feet crest to trough, or surfers would call it 15 feet. Outer reef stuff, Waimea Bay stuff. The problem will be for the North Shore conditions, northeasterly winds are sticking around because in association with all these fast east tracking systems within this large gyra and the jet stream, well, it's affecting the weather and the winds. We get a sequence of high pressures in between the low pressures, and that pumps up our trades. So it'll be going up and down, up and down, up and then down on Friday, to be specific. Now we're today's models, and again, take a look at the size of that fetch, and again, the west coast just getting hammered with big waves too. But coming up towards the date line here, about 1,800 miles away at this point, Wednesday the 10th, we see another system forming, and this one gets to near hurricane force winds and some 38-foot seas, crossing the 180 date line here, which is 1,200 miles away, and it gets fairly close to us too. Now you can tell the energy is going to be veering from the west-northwest to the north-northwest through the swell's journey, but we are going to be cranking up big time here with some 20-second forerunners on Saturday the 13th. It'll be pumping up to 9 or 10 feet at 16 seconds. Saturday, getting to heights of 10 to probably 15 feet, for sure 12 plus. This guy's going to hold from the north-northwest on Sunday the 14th at, again, 10 to 12 and probably up to 15. We'll have to, wait and see, but plenty big enough. It'll merit warnings because it's just marginal size for Pipe and Sunset, but I'll bet you they're going to be able to finish up the Pipeline Masters on this event and be able to finish up this weekend. The North Pack then quiets down just a pinch, and that big gyra is now over. We do see complex storminess off of Japan. As time marches on, we see a nice little swell here that'll bump us up to a more, again, seasonal average type of swell. This is like a 5 to 7, maybe 8-foot swell for Thursday the 18th. If you want to mark your calendar for this guy at the date line again, this is showing what the models are for Tuesday the 16th. Take a couple days to get to us from here, but right now Wave Watch 3 is committing to some 5-foot swell at 15 seconds from the northwest, and then the models really fantasize a ridiculous big storm off of Japan. If this guy comes true 8 days from now, this is showing Thursday the 18th, we will see 24-second forerunners on Saturday the 20th. Again, this can really change up, and as that swell builds and moves towards the date line, we'll see 9 feet 20 seconds on Saturday the 25th, but late that night. And then on Sunday the 21st, we could see 14 feet, 18 seconds. That'll be enough for Jaws or Pe'ahi to get 25 feet and bigger if this guy pans out. Now, again, this is super long range, and long range forecasts are subject to sharp U-turns, as Pat Caldwell likes to say. Okay, now we're going to go to the South Pack because we've been seeing swell. Now, we're actually looking at 3 feet solid at Diamond Head today from some background fetches that are even no longer on the charts here. Now, I'm going back to Sunday the 7th for us because we have a south swell coming up, south-southwest swell, the 14th, 15th, 16th, and the 17th, or next week. This fetch right here coming up the east coast of New Zealand is the culprit. You see that fetch lasts a long time. It actually gets far north of New Zealand. And we are looking at 2 to 3, probably some 4-footers out of this guy at the swell's peak around the 15th or 16th. For sure, head high and probably a foot overhead. Not bad when you check the calendar. These are definitely anomalies for the season. Now bringing the models current, you can see the leftovers from the swell that we'll be seeing the middle of the month. Starting in the animations, I wanted to show you that the South Pack's not done with us. Look at that beauty. It has a meridional flow or an equatorial bound tilt. This guy will be bringing us up some waves again with some 14 seconds, maybe 16 seconds on the 20th, which is a Saturday. So the weekend of the 20th, 21st, 22nd, we'll be seeing some solid 3-foot south swell again, and we'll take it. This guy out over here to our straight south is kind of out of our window. We may see a touch of that swell mixing in with the south-southwest. This one will have a south-southeast bent to it. But take a look at that. That looks like summer there. It's a full-on swell during winter. And then we go totally quiet, which is what you would expect to see. But we had 2 really nice exceptions here for December. Now I wanted to go out really quick and do super long range updates. Here's the current swell that we're seeing and the next one. And starting in the animations, you can see a really easterly track to it. We go super long range, and there's the big one. This is showing Friday the 19th, and we're hoping that puppy pulls in what it's fantasizing about now, which would be easily 20 foot. I'm probably getting too excited. Shouldn't be claiming anything, but at least we can take a heads up. That guy is, in addition, supported on Christmas Day by another fetch, so it looks like December is just cranking out. And these are definitely signs of an El Nino winter. It's a weak to moderate El Nino, but it still does make a difference. Warmer sea temps affect the atmosphere. We get more and more intense storms. That sure seems to be what we see. Now we're going to get into some hand-drawn surface charts. There's the big low bringing us in our big waves. There is its trailing front. That's cold front is moving down the island chain. It's weak. It's not really strong. Kauai did get a lot of rain and stronger northeasterly winds associated with it. This high pressure is moving into the zone, and that's why the trades are really going to ramp up here. But it'll be backing down on Friday because this next low that'll bring us up our big waves over the weekend also has its own front. It's the cycle between these nearby and big low pressures with high pressures in between which increase pressure gradients in between these systems as they move east within the jet stream. So there's the incredible low that brought us in plenty of action the last week. There's the next high leading to some gusty northeasterly winds. The next low will weaken the trade winds on Friday, but they'll ramp up again as this next high moves into the picture. Now the large upper air currents 30,000 feet up, these things we know as the jet stream. Well, the jet stream has been dropped very low, extending all the way to the west coast, bringing them waves as well as us. There's that high pressure spinning clockwise in between. I was just showing you that it's going to lead to the trade winds. The jet is going to get going again. And you can see how it elongates all the way to longitudes north of us and even beyond all the way to the west coast. Within that, well, increases the chances of surface low development. It steers those systems that it enhances. So the jet stream is very important in the overall picture. Down under, you can see again these points up towards the equator and actually getting a low pressure within it. It doesn't always happen, but it's happening for us. Lucky we live in Hawaii. Now the upper regions are showing very stable dry air masses, the brown sinking air that you see here, and all the storm activity in the North Pack above us. At the surface, we're getting rained on because of the surface level has that front, but it is weak, and it will be moving down, hitting Oahu late this afternoon. The water vapor loops are features about 20,000 feet up. Here's another example of a prettier picture. There is that cold front. Again, very thin as this reveals. Drilling down even further, you can see that northeasterly tilt to the flow of the trade winds. And there she comes. Here we are sitting on Oahu. Kauai just getting slammed. Right now, Maui and the Big Island are still in kind of a sea breeze pattern, but that'll all change here in several hours, tonight into tomorrow, as this thing dissipates. Highs are about upper 70s, lows in the upper 60s, like in Wahiawa especially. The temperature variations will be great because of the high pressures exchanging places with the lows. And we'll finish off with a pretty animation showing you the remnant spinner up here in the Gulf, the next one here for Saturday, and down under. Well, I don't know what to make of that. That's your local swell tracker. We'll be back here next week. Have a fun, safe day in the water, and aloha.